The movie begins in Iraq with a U.S. Army helicopter reporting to command about their arrival at the mission site. They arrive at a facility belonging to the base, 100 miles from Tikrit. We see a group torturing 3 American soldiers, filming their torture and execution for the world to see. Meanwhile, John, disguised, stands at the door watching them and reports to his commander about what's happening. They learn that there are 9 enemies and 3 Marine hostages. His commander orders him not to engage until Alpha Team arrives. John tries to explain that there's no time, but when his commander insists, he disobeys orders and attacks before they can kill his comrade. He engages in an intense fight, using his immense strength to eliminate all the enemies and rescue his comrade. They leave the site just as Alpha Team's helicopter arrives, opening fire on everyone in the area, turning the place into a fiery inferno. Next, we move to the Marine Corps Special Operations Base in Germany, where soldiers are training. Suddenly, their commander enters and calls John out for a conversation. John follows orders and steps out. The commander shocks him by informing him that the military tribunal has refused to hear his case, denied his appeal, and discharged him from service for disobeying orders. John tries to explain the situation, but the commander insists he must follow orders. John walks away with quiet dignity, affirming that he served his unit, corps, and country with honor. The commander thanks him on behalf of the U.S. Marine Corps. John, in shock, returns home to South Carolina. His wife, Cade, is overjoyed to see him and can't believe he's finally back. When she learns what happened, she tries to comfort him, telling him she thought about him every moment he was away. The next day, a man named Rome enters a jewelry store filled with people admiring the displayed gems. Rome walks around before suddenly attacking one of the customers, beating him violently. He threatens to kill everyone if they don't get on the ground. His gang members emerge, taking control of the hostages. Rome orders them to keep everyone down and instructs the cashier to open the vault. When the cashier refuses, Rome grabs a hostage and threatens to kill her. The cashier is forced to comply, but the shocking twist is that the hostage, Angela, is actually part of the gang. She takes the cashier's gun and threatens to kill anyone who moves. Rome and his gang steal all the diamonds from the vault. Before leaving, the cashier calls Rome by name and tells him to hit him to make it look real for the police. It turns out the cashier was the one who tipped them off about the diamonds. Rome agrees, but then unexpectedly shoots him dead. Angela is shocked, but they flee before the police arrive. As they are about to escape, police cars arrive, forcing Rome to open fire. One of his men, Morgan, helps by blowing up the police cars in a spectacular explosion. They escape in their vehicles. The forensic team arrives at the scene, examining the area and the cashier's body. The lead investigator requests the security camera footage and deduces that the gang wasn't after the jewelry, but specifically the diamonds worth $12 million. He wonders how they knew the diamonds had arrived just 24 hours earlier, confirming that the heist was premeditated. The next day, John starts a new job as a security guard at a company. He is frustrated with the job, as he is used to combat and high-stakes missions. His colleague, Joe, tries to cheer him up. While they are talking, a man harasses a female employee, attempting to assault her. John and Joe intervene to remove him, but when the man refuses and calls his men to attack them, John loses his temper and teaches them a lesson. He fights them off, causing chaos in the office. The harasser flees in fear. A bystander records the entire incident and broadcasts it on television. As a result, John and Joe are fired. They go to a diner where Joe reassures John that he will find another job. John explains that he is trained for combat, hand-to-hand fights, and heavy weaponry, not office work. Meanwhile, Rome and Angela return to their hotel. Rome receives a call from the man who ordered the diamond heist, who is furious about the police killings. Rome assures him that he has the diamonds, giving him leverage. His boss warns him that if he tries to defy him, he will face serious consequences. They agree to meet the next day at noon to exchange the diamonds for the promised money. At the same time, John returns home, shocked to find Cade watching his fight on the news. She tries to comfort him and suggests they take a vacation to get away from everything. John agrees and they plan to leave the next day. Meanwhile, Morgan and his gang visit a car dealership to pick up their getaway vehicle. Morgan dislikes the car they were given and takes another one instead. The next day, John and Cade set off on their trip. Cade is happy and sings along the way. John reminisces about his childhood memories with his father and brother. They stop at a gas station to refuel. At the gas station, Rome and his gang are also present. John leaves the car to get Cade a drink from the cafe. Angela is standing next to him, buying some items. Rome is refueling his car. By sheer bad luck, a police car arrives and an officer steps out to refuel. Rome panics, thinking the officer is there to arrest them, but the officer is just refueling. The officer notices Rome's car and starts a conversation, asking about it. Rome claims it belongs to his brother. Suddenly, Morgan appears and, as usual, acts recklessly, shooting the officer. Rome and his gang are forced to kill everyone at the station. Hearing the gunfire, John fears for Cade's safety. As he rushes out, one of Rome's men knocks him out with a fire extinguisher. Angela takes over the cafe, and they quickly leave, while Rome keeps firing at the police car until he finishes it off. When he sees Cade, he decides to kidnap her to use her as a hostage. John opens his eyes on Cade's scream, but Morgan shoots at the gas station and explodes the place and escapes in his car. Cade thinks that her husband died in the explosion and she collapses, but John gets out of the middle of the fire and tries to help the policeman in the car. He took the car, and while he chases them, he calls the highway patrol and introduces himself. He also tells them about the killing of the policeman at the gas station by a gang of 4 men and 1 woman. He also tells them the route they escaped from, the color of their car, its license plate, and that they have a hostage with them. Unfortunately, it is his wife. John runs at top speed to catch them. At that moment, Angela reads Cade's ID and knows that her husband is a sergeant and a Marine. While mocking John, Cade gets angry at her and wants to hit her, but Rom's men restrain her. Unluckily, Rom sees in the mirror John chasing him, so he orders his men to shoot him until they finish him off. They actually do what he says and shoot him like crazy. John tries to avoid the gunfire and get away from them. Unfortunately, the car is destroyed by the many bullets, but John doesn't stop and keeps chasing them until he enters a work area. They start running over the workers. John avoids the workers and continues chasing them until they enter a forbidden area because of the bridge in it. Before Rom falls with the car, he catches himself and stops, but John can't control the car and flies over Rom's car. At that moment, Morgan shoots the car's engine so that it explodes. John escapes from it before the explosion and falls into the water. At that moment, Rom and his men think that they finished him off because of the look of the car while it explodes and falls into the water, and Cade acts like a madwoman. So she tries to attack Angela and threatens to kill her, but Rom stops her and tells her to control her, not to kill her. He asks Morgan to come with a rope and tie her up. They do what he says, and Morgan was upset when he finds the car destroyed and they can't move with it. One of the team blames Morgan for his stupidity, and they know that because of his haste, they are chased by the police. Morgan gets tired and starts beating him, and before he finishes him, Roman fires in the air. So he understands that no one is allowed to kill him without his permission, and he is the only one. So he understands that they have 2 choices to get out of the problem they are in. The first is to kill each other, and at that time, no one will get their share of the money, and the second is to get out of the trouble they are in, deliver the goods, and take their money. They choose the second option, and Rom asks them to move quickly before the police forces spread everywhere. So Rom understands that they will walk in the forest to hide behind the trees. At that time, the air inspection forces will not be able to catch them. So Angela wonders what she will do to Cade at that time. Cade insults her, so Angela beat her, making her lose his consciousness. So Rom orders Morgan to carry her, and of course, Morgan gets upset because everything he wants, he asks him for, but he is forced to carry out his words, and they start walking in the forest. We then see the police examining the gas station and the bodies in the place, and he reaches the investigator Van, who is handling the diamond theft case. So he sold the general patrol condition that the one who reported the incident is a former soldier named John from the Marines. So he concludes at that time from John's description of the killers that they are the same gang that stole the diamonds, and he requests a search team and helicopters to search for them everywhere. While he is talking, he receives another report of a traffic accident between 2 cars, including a police car, and the sounds of gunfire as well. So Van quickly goes to the place. When he arrives, he finds John's car with his ID in it. Before he leaves the place, John emerges from the water and appears to him. Van is afraid of John and points with his gun, but from the way he looks, he recognizes John and begins to introduce himself. He tells Van that the gang kidnapped his wife. Van tries to calm him down and asks him to leave the matter to the police, but John refuses and decides to search for her himself. Van tries to explain to him that there is ebb and flow in the area, and because of that, he won't be able to chase them, but John doesn't care about anything and insists. Van agrees to John and tells him to be careful with them because they are criminals. John runs as fast as he can, so Van asks his team to bring him the chains to search the place. He also sends a helicopter to search the whole place. After a short time, the helicopter arrives and starts searching the place. Because of the trees, they can't see Rom and his men. Rom and his men keep walking until Cade wakes up, attacks Morgan and hits him, and another gang member comes at her and hits Angela again. Here, a new fight occurs between Morgan and the same person he fought with before. Morgan gets angry because of his words and wants to kill him, but Rom stops him and kills him with fire. Everyone there is devastated by what happened, and Rom knows that the person who decides who lives and who dies is him, not anyone else. They continue on their way. The crocodiles at that moment smell the scent of blood, and they come out of the river to take the body of the dead person. Morgan is scared of the sight and starts moving quickly. As for the recovery team, they inform Van that they did not find anything in the river. Returning to Rom and his team while they are running through the trees, they were shocked when they find scary-looking snakes around them and tries to get away from them. Then, the police forces enter the forest with dogs to search for them, while John follows them on the same road. He gets angry when he finds traces of blood on the tree and realizes that they killed one of them, so he takes the knife of the person who was killed and continues on his way. Then, Rom's boss calls and asks where they are. He realizes that they are fine and on their way. Then he shocks his boss and tells him what they did at the gas station in Rom's house. He told him that he did everything: killing, burning, and kidnapping. He tells him that he will take all the diamonds for himself and goes back on his agreement with him. He also closes the road in his face. As soon as he hears the sound of a helicopter above him, he quickly hides with his men. Angela places the knife on Cade's neck so that she does not move. They continue on their way quickly, and John keeps following them through their footprints. While they are on the road, Cade tries to free her hands without them noticing. At the same time, there are two drug dealers hiding in. When they hear the sound of the police helicopter, they get scared, and suddenly they trap John. They threatens to kill him if he moves from his place because they thought he is a policeman and wants to arrest them. John tries to explain to them that he has nothing to do with the police, but they refuse to believe him, and one of them hits him on the head with a weapon, causing him to lose consciousness. They then take him to their cabin and tie him up. At that moment, he orders his men to search every cabin in the area to make sure no one is hiding. Meanwhile, Ram finds his cabin and decides to wait for the police to finish their search so they can hide there. Back to John, he tries to free his hands and explain to the drug dealers that he is not with the police, but every time he speaks, they beat him with all their strength. John gets angry, breaks the chair on the ground, frees his hands, and attacks the drug dealers, killing them with all his might. After finishing them off, he quickly leaves to continue his search for Cade. He runs at full speed until he sees Ram and his men entering the cabin. At that moment, a police helicopter circles the area multiple times. When Ram and his men enter the cabin, they find the electricity cut off. Ram asks Morgan to check the generator, and Morgan follows his orders. Meanwhile, John is hiding. As soon as Morgan reaches the generator, John appears and attacks him. A fierce fight ensues, but in the end, John manages to take him down. At this point, we notice that Ram admires Cade, but is afraid of Angela's madness, so he keeps his distance. He then calls his friend, who is preparing the cars for their escape, and asks him to send a car to Rita's bar near the port. His friend agrees, but asks for some time to get it ready. John hears everything. On the other side, Cade tries to create conflict between Angela and Ram by planting the idea that Ram is treating her like a toy in his hands. Ram returns to the cabin and asks one of his men, "What are you planning?" The man reassures him and tells him that since they completed the mission alone, the diamonds belong to them. They plan to sell them and split the money. After finishing the conversation, Ram asks him to check on Morgan. As soon as the man goes down, John attacks him and beats him until he is dead. He then places him next to Morgan and covers them. At this moment, Van appears and threatens John with a gun. When Van sees Morgan and his colleagues' bodies, he asks how many people are left in the cabin. John informs him that only two remain, a man and a woman. They decide to attack the cabin. Meanwhile, Cade manages to free her hands and starts running, with Angela chasing after her. They fight fiercely, with Angela trying to overpower Cade until she finally succeeds. Meanwhile, John and Van attack Ram, leading to a shocking revelation. Ram is the boss who ordered the diamond heist. Van points his gun at John, who is shocked and speechless. Van orders Ram to return the diamonds. Ram offers to kill John in exchange for the diamonds. Before Van can act, John attacks him. Ram grabs his gun and starts shooting. A bullet hits Van, killing him. John runs to take cover behind the bar. Ram takes Angela and Cade to escape. Before leaving, he shoots the power generator, causing an explosion. As always, John jumps through the fire and emerges unscathed. Cade thinks he is dead again. Ram forces her into Van's car and escapes. John emerges from the fire and finds two policemen on a boat in front of him. He is forced to take them down, steal the boat, and chase Ram. While Ram is on the road, Angela keeps the diamonds with her for security. Ram tells her they need to get rid of the car and asks her to stop a passing truck. Angela follows his instructions and stops the first truck that passes. The driver is captivated by her beauty and lets her in. Suddenly, Angela shoots him, killing him. Ram gags Cade to prevent her from screaming. John continues searching for them. Through the boat's radio, he hears a report about the truck driver's murder. He quickly heads to the last known location of the truck. Ram is now driving the truck, with Cade handcuffed to a pole inside. At night, John arrives at Rita's port and is relieved to see Ram in the truck. Cade sees John and, to signal her presence, attacks Ram, causing him to lose control of the truck. John receives the message, jumps off the boat, and runs after the truck. He manages to jump onto the back of the truck. Angela is shocked to see him standing next to her. He opens the door and throws her out with his hand. She crashes into another car, gets torn apart, and the diamonds scatter all over the ground. Ram tries to kill John, but Cade distracts him by continuously hitting him. Ram drives the truck into a cabin, crashing it. He then drives into a gas cylinder warehouse, causing an explosion. Ram jumps out of the truck, leaving Cade inside to die. The truck continues moving through the fire until it falls into the sea. Cade struggles to free herself but fails. John confronts Ram, and they engage in a brutal fight. Ram tries everything to kill John, but fails. John throws Ram into the fire and jumps into the sea after Cade. He is shocked to find her unconscious. He desperately tries to break the car door and the pole she is handcuffed to. Finally, he succeeds, pulls her out, and brings her to shore. John performs CPR on her while crying hysterically until she regains consciousness. His joy is short-lived as Ram reappears, his face horribly burned, and tries to kill him. John strangles Ram with a chain, finally ending him. John returns to Cade to check on her. At that moment, the police arrive, bringing the story to an end, and that concludes today's movie summary. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with new content. See you in the next summary. Goodbye.